This is Gene Krebs, and on behalf of the Centers for Community Solutions, we're high on Ohio. We're going around this state and we're interviewing people out there who are making a difference, having an impact, and trying to improve this state and bring a different variety of voices to bear in the choir that we call Ohio. I'm joined today by Sara Ward, who's Director of Interfaith Power and Light, and Dr. Greg Hitzhusen, who is a lecturer at Ohio State University and is with a environmental shop there doing a variety of things. And I'll let you two describe a little bit about, first of all, what is your organization? What is it that was Interfaith Power and Light? And Dr. Hitzhusen, you're the board chair for her organization. Tell us a little bit about what that is and what you do there too, and what you do up at Ohio State. So Sara?
So Ohio Interfaith Power and Light is one of 40 state chapters of Interfaith Power and Light organizations across the country. And our organization began about 5 years ago as a project of the Ohio Council of Churches. But we are a nonprofit that is interfaith in our focus, and our mission is to address climate change through the religious community. And we do that through sort of tangible results with efficiency, renewables, and conservation.
Well, how broad is your interfaith? What is it just Lutherans and Methodists? Or is it broader than that?
Recently, we're working with the Noor Islamic Center, so we're pretty excited to begin to work with the Muslim community. But we've also in the past worked with the Jewish community, Baha'is, and we have all of the Christian denominations involved around the state. So it's pretty broad in its representation.
And what's your main concern with the climate change then?
Well, this is really an opportunity to address the fact that the religious community does care about climate change. And our main concern is the impact that it has on nations that are poor and poor populations that aren't in a position to turn things around and that are just suffering as a result of lack of food or lack of shelter. And we're also concerned about our future generations.
Okay. And Dr. Hitzhusen, or I'll call you Greg because that last name is a mouthful.
Yes, it is.
But what is it that, so you're the board chair, and what is it you do then in your role as board chair and also up at Ohio State then?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, I sort of wear two hats. And at Ohio State, I teach in the School of Environment and Natural Resources. And I have a couple of classes there, and one is focused on religion and environmental values in America.
Oh, well, that's a good fit for you here.
That's my expertise, my deep expertise, but I also teach an environmental writing, environmental communications course that over the last few years has focused my students on sustainability projects at Ohio State. And so they take as their research subject the challenges that Ohio State faces to become a sustainable university. Our former president, E. Gordon Gee, wanted to be the greenest college campus in the country within the next 5 years. Well, how do you do that? Well, my students take on those challenges and look into specific initiatives that Ohio State might do, and then they work on those and try to communicate their results as best they can. So it's a lot of fun for me with that constant creativity of the students trying to solve these sort of new problems and old problems. And then I have a lot of enjoyment from students wrestling with questions of religion and the environment together. And that's a perfect fit for Ohio Interfaith Power and Light. I grew up in Columbus, and my wife and I were living in upstate New York in Ithaca and moved back here in 2007. And that's when I started teaching for the school. And just at the same time, Ohio Interfaith Power and Light was starting its original organizing meetings. So I became the founding director of Ohio IPL, and then when I moved into a full-time position at the university a couple of years later, I became the board chair. And so as the board chair, I collaborate with the director, Sara as director, and the other board members, and still do a fair amount of hands-on work with congregations around the state.